Gloria Guevara and Mouhamed Fauzou Deme combine forces for UN Tourism SG. January 31st was the last day candidates could submit their bid to compete with Zurab Palalikashvili, the current Secretary General of UN Tourism, who is trying to run for an eye-browsing third term. It is becoming clear that the best way to win is to consolidate and have a united voice campaigning for urgently needed changes in a perceived corrupt UN tourism organization. Veteran African tourism visionary and leader Mouhamed Fauzou and Gloria agreed that combining expertise, resources, and a future plan for world tourism would be a winning approach. Mouhamed Fauzou withdrew his UN tourism application for Secretary General. Today, Mouhamed Fauzou has withdrawn his application to become the first African UN Tourism Secretary General to work with Gloria Guevara as future Secretary General with him as UN Tourism Director for Africa to have the best chance of winning and to ensure the best outcome for Africa in the World Tourism Organization leadership. Iturbonews.com. Fauzou said in his statement, "Dear members of the African Francophone Tourism Council, dear friends of the media, dear journalists. You were very enthusiastic and many of you were delighted and supported my candidacy for the position of Secretary General of UN Tourism. A first in the history of Senegal and West Africa. I am proud to share with you God has chosen the best for us. In 1 month, my campaign visited 9 television stations, 3 radio stations, 10 daily newspapers, 12 news sites, and 2 magazines to discuss, exchange, and shed light on my general policy declaration for my candidacy for UN Tourism Secretary General. It resulted in the Senegal people better understanding the importance and challenge tourism has in our economy, which is the reason for my candidacy. U2.B. This morning at midnight, I accepted the Mexican candidate, Mrs. Gloria Guevara's proposal to continue my campaign and combine it with hers. Once elected, our collective dream for this great ambition that we have for Senegal, West Africa, and Africa as a continent will come true. I will have the opportunity to discuss our agreements with you during an upcoming press briefing, the date of which will be communicated to you. I thank His Excellency the President of the Republic, His Excellency Bassirou Diomaye Diakhar Faye, and His Excellency the President of the National Assembly, Honorable Deputy El Malik Ndiaye, the Minister Advisor Professor Maunirou Ndiaye for their involvement in processing my request for candidacy. Recognition and gratitude to my family, my friends, the world of African and international tourism, particularly the American President of World Tourism Network, Mr. Jurgen Stan-Smith, the Executive Secretary of the Francophone African Tourism Council, the Gabonese Mr. Christian Baina, and all the Senegalese and international press. Success for tourism, success for Senegal, success for Africa, thank you. Mouhamed Fauzou Deme Tourism. Who are Gloria and Mouhamed competing against? Before UN Tourism is expected to announce the complete list of competing candidates, both Harry Theoharis from Greece and Gloria Guevara from Mexico had been outspoken for weeks competing for this important post. Also for some time, Mouhamed Fauzou Deme from Senegal had positioned himself as the African candidate, supported by Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye and many other African leaders. Before Mouhamed's position constantly strengthened, the privately run African Tourism Board Chair Cuthbert Ncube endorsed Harry Theoharis. Insiders say Gloria and Mouhamed are part of a winning team. The first woman UN Tourism Secretary General, the first from Mexico, but a leader with a global mindset, who was already perceived to be the most powerful woman in tourism when leading the World Travel and Tourism Council, and a veteran African tourism leader on her team, making sure Africa will not again take the short stick in the upcoming election. Former Kenyan Minister for Tourism and Wildlife Mr. Najib Balala. Also supporting Gloria Guevara is Najib Balala, former Secretary of Tourism and Wildlife from Kenya and one of the longest-serving ministers of tourism in Africa. The race has begun.